Hello, everyone. Rodolfo Guzman here, and today I'm going to talk about the movie Hidden Figures and what makes this movie such an impactful film. It's from 2016, and it tells the story of three black women and their contributions to the NASA space program, and more importantly, the Friendship 7 launch of John Glenn into orbit. The three women it follows are Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson, all who are employed by NASA to be helpers with various calculations in various sectors. The film is set in 1960, both the time of the space race and of segregation. This film highlights a lot of discrimination based off of race and sex that these three women face both inside and outside the workplace. One of the main themes of this movie is how all three of these women overcome the racial discrimination and still manage to do their jobs. Their role in NASA was being part of the West Area Computing Group. So all three of these women were assigned to different sectors within NASA to help them with the calculations since computers were still not as reliable. Catherine and Mary get assigned to the Friendship Capsule Engineering Team and the Launch Trajectories Team, respectively, at the beginning of the movie. Although they work with respected scientists, their race still holds them back. If you pay attention to one scene, Catherine is seen running from her building, the building she's working at, which only has a whites only bathroom, to a building with colored only bathrooms. This whole sequence of Catherine running from building to building lets the viewer see how someone who's just as smart as everyone in the room she works with, how her race still holds her back. Jackson also struggles with segregation, as she must go through the court to get her master's in engineering so NASA can recognize her as an official engineer. Dorothy Vaughan also suffers at the hand of discrimination. She's repeatedly denied a promotion throughout the movie, despite having all the responsibilities of one. And if she was white, she would have probably gotten the promotion. When the new IBM computers threatens the West Area Computing Group, Dorothy takes it upon herself to learn how to program the IBM and teach all the women within the West Area Computing Group. All these hurdles overcome show how dedicated these women were to their job. I think one scene that has the cruelest reminder of the segregation was at one part, Catherine takes coffee from the same pot that all the white scientists take coffee from, and she comes back the next day and they have a separate, smaller coffee pot for her that says colored on it. And I think this scene especially makes a point that like the prejudices between the scientist and her like ran really deep regardless of the knowledge that she had. And paying attention to the scenarios that the director sprinkles in the movie, both inside NASA and outside NASA, really set the tone for the racial tension that was present in the 1960s where this movie takes place. But apart from that, though, Catherine is still subject to a lot of sex discrimination at NASA. She's not allowed to put her name on any of the reports she authors, and she cannot attend official briefings that contain information that were essential to her calculations. Nonetheless, though, she still overcomes all the challenges she encounters. And now, like a couple things about the soundtrack and set design. The soundtrack is produced by Pharrell, and he uses a lot of soulful and gospel tunes to it to kind of fit the black southern culture that was around in the 1960s. It's really, really cool. It's really soulful at times, especially when there's just African American gatherings. It's something that's really, really cool. Really small attention to detail. As for something else, something that I read was for the set design, NASA, the director Theodore Melfi, for the set design, he designed NASA to be colder colors. So your light reds, your grays, your blacks, stuff like that was mostly on the NASA sets. And when the women were at their homes or in their gatherings or their churches, the colors were a lot brighter, and they were meant to to signify just a livelier tone to it. Especially the change of environment where they were a lot more welcome within their own little circles. Out of the three of them, though, Katherine Johnson is the only one who's still alive, and she was 98 when actress Taraji P. Henson and director Theodore Melfi reached out to her. Melfi later says that after looking with old photographs of her at NASA. She kept saying, "I don't understand why you're making a movie about me. All I did was my job." This is shows how humble Katherine Johnson even is today, and knowing how much she contributed and how much how her and her colleagues were really pioneers for African Americans and women at NASA. Um, one of her more prestigious awards, she was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2017 by President Obama. And Mary Jackson was also the first African American engineer at NASA, and Dorothy Vaughan was the first African American supervisor. Um, all three of these women broke multiple barriers for African American women and STEM and in the STEM sectors. Overall, to me, the movie really exposes one of the most overlooked group of women in history, and it shows how much they overcame and how much they did, and the the magnitude of their work they did to put a man on the moon and to compete in the space race. And I, honestly, reading about it, it was amazing, and all these three women are very humble in their accomplishments. So I really hope you enjoy the movie because I really did.